Welcome to AI ConvoCast, where we bring you the latest in AI and tech innovation. Quick housekeeping. Check out the affiliate links in our description. Using them supports the show, and please don't forget to rate, review, and share if you like what you hear. Let's jump right in.
Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, so today we're diving right into, well, a bit of a mystery from the AI world. Picture this. A really ambitious experiment gets launched, lots of buzz, aiming to show how AI and humans can work together.
Right.
And then, boom, just a week later, it's completely gone, vanished.
It is a really fascinating, almost strange situation, isn't it? And like you said, it's more than just some odd tech story. It feels like a real cautionary tale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for anyone really trying to get a handle on where things stand with AI content right now, the importance of being upfront, transparent.
Transparency, yeah.
And that whole balancing act between what AI can do, which is amazing, and keeping public trust, this story, it really packs a punch in terms of lessons learned.
Absolutely. So that's our mission today, basically, to unpack what the sudden shutdown of Anthropic's Claude Explains blog really tells us about AI's place, maybe especially in creative and technical fields.
And what it means for you, the listener, trying to make sense of this stuff. Exactly. What does this quick rise and fall signal as you navigate, this digital world that's changing so fast? Let's dig in.
Okay, so first, context. We're talking about Anthropic. They're a big name, known mostly for focusing on AI safety, responsible development.
And they created the Claude AI assistant, which many people know.
That's the one. So their idea for Claude Explains was, well, really ambitious. It kicked off early June 2025.
Right.
The core concept. Used their Claude model to generate drafts of technical blog posts. But, and this is key, it wasn't supposed to be just raw AI output.
No, not just hitting generate and publishing.
Exactly. The plan, or at least the stated plan, was that human experts would review, tweak, enhance these drafts before they went live. It sounded like a proper partnership.
A true collaboration model for content.
And what's interesting is how they framed the goal. Anthropic explicitly said it wasn't about replacing humans.
They were quite clear on that, weren't they?
Very. They wanted to show how human expertise and AI capabilities can work together. They called it an early example of how teams could use AI to augment their work, provide more value. Augmentation, not replacement.
And the stuff they were posting seemed pretty useful, too. Like, they had articles on simplifying complex code bases with Claude, practical applications. And they kept stressing the process that these posts went through multiple drafts with human experts adding examples, context. It felt thought through.
Definitely. And they weren't planning to stop at tech blogs either. They talked about expanding into creative writing, data analysis, business strategy, basically showing off Claude's range.
So a big vision seemed like a long-term play.
Yeah, it really did. Felt like a significant experiment.
And then, poof, just gone. 1 week after getting a feature in TechCrunch, which really put it on the map.
Right, brought a lot of eyes to it.
The whole Claude Explains blog just vanished. It was incredibly sudden, a real head-scratcher.
And the way it vanished is important, too. No big announcement, no blog post explaining why. Anthropic just quietly shut it down. The URL started redirecting to their main homepage, and all the posts just disappeared. Wiped clean.
Like it never happened.
Pretty much. A silent, total removal.
And it wasn't like nobody noticed it was there. Web analytics showed, over 24 sites had already linked to the content?
Yeah, it was starting to get some traction, starting to get integrated into the web.
So it was out there, people were referencing it, and then gone. The lack of any explanation just fueled speculation, obviously. What happened? Why pull the plug so fast?
And this sudden disappearance, especially now with AI content booming everywhere, it immediately brings up those fundamental questions, doesn't it? Like, what actually makes you trust content when AI is involved?
That's the million-dollar question, right? Which leads us straight into the problems this whole experiment, maybe accidentally, really highlighted. Transparency seems like the big one.
Oh, absolutely. That became a huge sticking point almost immediately. People started asking, okay, how much of this is Claude and how much is the human expert?
You couldn't tell.
You couldn't. And that lack of clarity, well, it breeds mistrust, doesn't it? If you don't know where the human insight ends and the AI begins, how do you really judge if it's credible?
It's a problem we're seeing elsewhere, too. Like, wasn't it Bloomberg that had issues with AI summaries?
That's right. They get to correct dozens of AI-generated article summaries after they were published because of factual errors, the infamous AI hallucinations.
Right, where the AI just makes stuff up but sounds confident doing it.
Exactly. And that's the danger. It can sound perfectly plausible, even authoritative, but be completely wrong. In fields where accuracy is non-negotiable, finance, medicine, news, that's a massive risk.
A critical flaw, really.
And the timing here felt particularly pointed. It happened not long after Anthropic's own CEO, Dario Amodei, made some pretty stark predictions.
Yes, the May 2025 warnings. Those made headlines. He was talking about AI potentially wiping out, half of entry-level white-collar jobs in 5 years?
Yeah, and potentially pushing unemployment up to 20%. Huge numbers.
Not exactly sugarcoating it.
No, and he even criticized the tech industry for doing just that, for downplaying the risks. He said quite directly, we have a duty and an obligation to be honest about what is coming.
So the CEO is warning about massive job disruption from AI.
Right.
While his company launches this blog meant to show AI helping human workers, which then disappears almost overnight.
The irony was pretty thick, yeah.
Yeah.
It felt like this very practical, maybe unintended demonstration that despite the big talk, AI isn't quite ready to seamlessly take over all these roles.
It highlights that gap, doesn't it? Between the hype and the reality on the ground.
Definitely. And it's not just about facts being right or wrong. There's this whole other layer, this growing issue of authenticity.
Oh, the human touch.
Exactly. We're hearing more and more that readers are getting, frankly, tired of generic formulaic AI content. It often lacks that spark, that real human perspective.
It can feel a bit sterile, maybe. Detached.
Sterile, detached, yeah. Even if it's grammatically flawless, it doesn't connect the same way.
It makes me think about why things like podcasts or live interviews are still so popular, maybe even having a resurgence.
That's a great point. People crave that genuine perspective, right? They want to hear real thoughts, real experiences, not just something polished by a machine.
A real connection.
Precisely. And all of this really, it circles back to the main lesson from the Claude Explains saga. We still desperately need human oversight in AI content creation.
It seems unavoidable right now.
It really does. The message is pretty clear.
Which isn't knocking AI's strengths. I mean, it can draft things incredibly fast, handle tedious tasks, crunch data like nothing else.
Oh, for sure. The potential is enormous for those things. But humans are still absolutely essential for the critical parts, ensuring accuracy, maintaining ethical standards, and bringing that creative quality.
The judgment calls.
The judgment calls, the nuance, the context. AI is a tool, a very powerful one, but it's not a magic wand for creating truly reliable, engaging content on its own.
So it's those unique human skills, catching subtle errors, adding the why behind the what, bringing emotional intelligence.
Exactly. Things AI still really struggles with. It can process information, but it doesn't understand in the human sense. It can't grasp the subtle implications, the cultural context, the ethical tightropes.
So for companies wading into this, it sounds like the key is finding that careful balance.
That's it. Strike a careful balance. Use AI as the powerful tool it is, but don't pretend it's something it's not. Don't oversell it.
And be transparent about how it's being used.
Crucial. Transparency is key for trust. Trying to hide the AI's role or overstating its capabilities while downplaying human input, that seems like a recipe for damaging your credibility. It can backfire badly.
So looking back at Claude Explained, it really feels like a perfect snapshot of this moment in time, doesn't it? Summer 2025, AI is everywhere.
It really is. It shows the promise scaling content, efficiency, but also slams right into the pitfalls. The issues around quality, transparency, and that hard-to-define authenticity.
So, for you listening, what's the takeaway? It seems the guiding principle hasn't really changed, despite the tech. Quality, being upfront, and having that genuine feel, that still comes down to humans.
Yeah, that seems to be the anchor right now, as AI keeps evolving, and it is evolving incredibly fast.
Unbelievably fast.
The most successful uses will probably be the ones that blend the best of both, using AI to enhance human skills, to augment expertise, not just try to replace it wholesale.
The collaboration model they were initially aiming for, maybe?
Perhaps, but executed with more transparency and maybe more realistic expectations. The whole Claude Explains episode, short as it was, serves as this potent reminder. AI is powerful, it's moving fast, but that human element, it's still irreplaceable.
A fascinating thought. For all the focus on the machine, maybe its biggest impact is highlighting what makes us human. Something for you to think about. Where do you see that irreplaceable human touch making the difference as AI continues to advance?
Thank you for listening to AI Convo Cast. Please don't forget to rate, review, and share if you like what you hear. Thanks and hope to see you again next time.